Welcome back. Well, some opposition parties have welcomed the sacking of Sithole as National Police Commissioner, but others say the move does not go far enough in restoring credibility to the police service. President Cyril Ramaphosa last week announcing the termination of his contract by, quote, mutual agreement. An investigation by a high-level panel into the July 2021 unrest in the country, revealing systemic failures by the police in responding to the looting that overran KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng. Let's get you some analysis on this issue now. We're joined by a senior associate at the African Center for Security and Intelligence Praxis. That's Eldred de Klerk. Eldred, a very good morning to you once again. Sithole, the latest police commissioner to not complete his term in office. No matter what the criticism is of his time as commissioner, this is not a good thing.
Well, good morning, Michelle, and good morning to your viewers. Yes, instability within the South African Police Service. This service is an essential state institution that contributes to our safety and security. Instability within the leadership of that institution is never a good thing. However, we've got to be careful now not to just play the game of switching men. We've got to make sure that the person who replaces he's still the incumbent, replaces the National Commissioner by the time it leaves, is someone who understands the political nature of policing in South Africa, the context of policing in South Africa, which is a developing state, and can squarely position the police within that developing state and within our broader national security strategy.
So his term in office comes to an end at the end of March, Eldred. Having said that, and despite what you've just described as an incredibly important part of our security cluster, do you reckon that we should be scrambling now to find his replacement, or do we take these next steps slowly?
We do take it slowly. Our motto has always been go slow to go fast. You've got to understand where we're placing this individual and what kind of competencies we require. The National Development Plan makes it very clear, and it recommends that the President establish a National Policing Board. That policing board will set down the ethos of policing, the doctrine of policing, and also together lead a public discussion on the competencies and role of a National Commissioner. It should also be the one to set down performance standards, because at the moment we don't have performance standards for the police. We have a police that is rudderless, and we have police devoid of doctrine and vision. And critically, on the political side, we have a police that actually is without strategic direction. So let's take this time to build and consolidate, to understand the lessons that we might be able to learn from this critical moment, so that we're not repeating this process every 3 or 4 years.
Eldred, I just want to take a moment to apologize to our viewers for the audio quality on our interview, but let me ask you one last question as we wrap up our discussion this morning. The July 2021 unrest, if nothing before revealed the holes in our security cluster, and particularly within the police, it was the riots of last year, wasn't it? And more so, the fact that Police Minister Cele, in his testimony at the Human Rights Commission's hearings into what unfolded, admitting as much, that he received intelligence, he doesn't blame it on himself, but he says he received intelligence on the riots 5 months after the fact.
Well, absolutely, but we got to understand what happened in July. July was what we call a strategic surprise. People just didn't think it was believable that something like that could happen. They may have had information which they, in their own heads, they weighed up and said, no, we don't understand that this will result in the kind of action we had in July. And it was also a failing of the whole entire national security architecture. Because, as I said earlier, we don't have a national security strategy. So when you underestimate your opponent, when you underestimate their capability and intention, and you underestimate their ability to mobilize on such a scale and scope, then even if you have information, what we often see is what we call political disbelief. The idea that it won't happen, and it won't happen to us, and it won't happen at this time. That is classical intelligence phenomena. So we can't just simply say that I had information, I had it 5 months beforehand. We may have had tactical information at the strategic level that we continue to have.
Certainly, analysts also coming forward and saying the next appointment to the position of police commissioner needs to be a career police officer and not a political appointment. Eldred de Klerk, let me thank you for your time this morning. He's with the African Centre for Security and Intelligence Praxis. The police commissioner, Ketla Sitole, effectively axed just last week. His term in office comes to an end at the end of March, and now the discussion continues around who should take up that position.